I've been very excited for this year's SummerSlam. And I honestly believe when it's all said and done, SummerSlam 2024 is going to go down as one of the best SummerSlams we've gotten in a long time. Now, in terms of hype and excitement, I'll admit it's not where I thought we would be. If you remember my WrestleMania review, I talked about what I thought we were going to get at SummerSlam this year. I was certain that the main event was going to be The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. Now imagine if that actually was the case. How exciting this SummerSlam would be if the main event, keeping everything else the way it is, you keep CM Punk and Drew, you keep Liv and Rhea, you keep Bayley and Nia, you keep literally every other match, LA Knight, Logan Paul, but we change that main event from Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes to The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I think all of us would be saying this is the best, at least one of the best SummerSlams of all time. Now, despite The Rock not being on the card, I still believe this is going to be easily a top 10 SummerSlam based off of the stories, based off of the potential outcomes, and definitely based off of the quality of the matches that we're going to get. The wrestling on this show is going to be nuts. The crowd's going to be hot. Looking at WrestleTix right now, we're at 50K. 50,000 people have bought their tickets. I think they have it set up for around 55,000. They're going to eclipse that. They'll get somewhere close to that by the time the show starts. It's going to be a big crowd. And you already know, despite the show ending with Cody and Solo Sikoa, the only reason that we're even doing this match, the question is, ladies and gentlemen, do you see Roman Reigns coming back? Is this the show that your tribal chief, the head of the table, comes back to reclaim his Pride Rock away from Scar Solo Sikoa? If Cody Rhodes is Simba and Solo is Scar, I guess that makes Roman Reigns Mufasa. We're going to save my overall thoughts on Roman Reigns coming back. And of course, what I think it will lead to, and if I think this will ultimately be a good thing for WWE when we get to that portion of the show. We have other matches to talk about. The match that I think is going to open the show, as it rightfully should, involves a native from Cleveland, Ohio. The United States Championship. The United States Championship match featuring Logan Paul, and everyone say his name with me, L.A. Knight. Yeah, is the perfect match to open SummerSlam. The crowd is going to be absolutely nuts for this. And it's not going to be for Logan Paul. If you ask me, and this is just my opinion about the match, I honestly believe this is a must-win situation for LA Knight. LA Knight has been hot, white hot, as a babyface for what feels like at least a solid year. Well, probably a little bit more than that. Since WrestleMania 39, right? So what is that? A little bit over a year? A year and some change? A couple of months? This man has been one of the top babyfaces in all of wrestling. Not just WWE, but everywhere. You say, yeah, you think LA Knight. This man has been killing it. And it's incredible to me that he's managed to stay over this long and he hasn't won a single championship match. The very first championship opportunity that he got wasn't a U.S. title match, wasn't an IC title match, wasn't a tag team title match. It was a world heavyweight championship, more specifically, the Universal Championship match with, of all people, Roman Reigns. I would think that the very first championship match this guy gets, you would want him to win it. But they put him against Roman Reigns, and ever since he lost to Roman, I'm not going to say he's lost his momentum, but he has felt kind of directionless. And they've just been giving him random things to work with, and he's made them work, and he's gotten wins over AJ Styles at WrestleMania. He got on WrestleMania, which is great. He needs to be rewarded. way before he got to WWE. He's worked his ass off to get to where he is. He is a prime example of someone who shows perseverance, who loves what he does. And because of his ability to connect, every time he shows up, the crowd goes crazy for him. Every time he goes, let me talk to you, crowd pops. Why would you not want this guy to be U.S. champion? And this isn't me hating on Logan Paul. I still hate the son of a bitch. I think Logan Paul, even now, is a boil on the ass of life. Despite the fact that he is an excellent performer inside the ring. And I hate to say it, he does draw in terms of social media. He does bring a lot of eyes to WWE on social media. So he is an asset to WWE. Despite being an ass, he is also an asset to WWE. The reality is, Logan Paul isn't here. He's a part-timer. I am sick and tired at this point of part-time champs. I would love for these championships to be on the shows now. And so I think it's time. LA Knight is my prediction to win this match. I don't think Logan Paul needs the belt. I think the belt needs LA Knight. And so that's my prediction. The pop's going to be crazy, by the way. Crowd's going to boo the living hell out of Logan Paul, even though it's his hometown. LA Knight's going to be the hero. And if you kick off SummerSlam with a win for LA Knight, we're already on the path. We're already on the right track to SummerSlam 2024 being one of the best SummerSlams. So that's my prediction. Next up, the next championship match on this card, Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker, the rematch from Money in the Bank. I am, without question, a big advocate. Might be the advocate for Bron Breakker. I think Bron Breakker is, without question, someone I consider the future of WWE. He has all the tools. He has the look. He has the charisma. He has the speed. He can talk. And most importantly, he can make motherfuckers look good. That's a very important skill. Because you don't have a lot of people who can make their opponents look good. He can. And I think because of his ability to elevate multiple people around him. Imagine how great he's going to be when he's 35. When he hits the prime of his career. The prime of his career, his prime years. So with that said, I still believe this is going to shock a lot of people. It might be a little too early to start putting a championship on him. I have a thing about pushing someone too soon. I think Bron Breakker is someone that, without question, will be a world champion one day. Does that mean he needs to be a world champion now or an IC champion now? I think back to Ryback. I remember when everyone was saying that Ryback should beat CM Punk. Remember that? 2012? Ryback had that massive push where he was squashing everybody, and then the first person he challenges is CM Punk for the world title. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait, way too fast. Why can't we see him after the IC title? What's going on here? Right? We're pushing him way too fast and then giving him way too much. I'm happy they backed off on it. The problem with Ryback is that they never went back to him being a world champion. And that killed him. With Bron Breakker here, I feel like, okay, we can have him beat Sami Zayn. But then it's almost like, okay, be careful that you're giving him way too much too soon. He literally just got here. Maybe we could do something with Bron Breakker where he wins the match, but Ken Shamrock-wise, he loses his shit and then it gets reversed. Remember that? Who here remembers The Rock versus Ken Shamrock? IC title match. Where Ken Shamrock beat The Rock. He beat The Rock for the IC title, but he wouldn't listen to the referee's instructions, and then the decision was reversed. Maybe do something like that with Bron Breakker. Make him even more of a badass. I don't want him to just win the title. Let's do something different with him. Let's go in a different direction with Bron Breakker. I don't think Sami Zayn should beat Bron Breakker clean here. But I also don't think Sami should lose the IC title. When I think about who should beat Sami Zayn for the IC title, I don't necessarily think Bron Breakker. I don't. That doesn't seem like the kind of person that I think should end Sami Zayn's reign. And I'm not just talking about, is it because he's not going to be a good champion? I think Bron would be a great champion. I'm not questioning Bron as a champion. I'm talking about what Sami Zayn has done. Sami Zayn was the guy who ended Gunther's legendary run with the IC title. When you have someone like that as champion, he needs to hold that thing for a while. So I don't see Sami Zayn losing his belt anytime soon. The person that should have beat him for it, Chad Gable, didn't. So because Chad didn't beat him, I don't see anyone, quite frankly, beating him. Maybe if we get back to Chad Gable, we might have something. But until then, no. I think what they'll do, this is just my opinion, I could be wrong. They'll set up something where Bron, maybe he beats Sami Zayn, and then the referee doesn't see it, and then Sami gets the advantage over him, and then he loses his shit. Or, again, like Ken Shamrock, he beats Sami, and then the decision is reversed. Regardless, I don't see Bron Breakker walking out as IC champion. So my prediction is Sami Zayn retains the IC title. That's just my prediction. Could be wrong. They might just give it to Bron Breakker and then he holds it forever. But he's 26 years old. We have plenty of time to put the belt on him. Let's tell a story. Let's build him up. Let's build Bron Breakker up to the point where fans are begging you to put the title on him. Right? Like with Cody Rhodes. People are still upset that Cody didn't beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. But would we have gotten what we got at WrestleMania 40 if he beat Roman the year before? Where fans were begging the WWE to put the belt on Cody. Would Cody be as over with the audience if he didn't lose to Roman Reigns? Sometimes it's all about the long game. So my prediction is that Sami Zayn retains, while somehow, some way protecting. I don't know how they're going to do it, but there's somehow, some way going to protect Bron Breakker. Next up, hey, Bayley. Bayley defends her women's championship against the queen of the ring, Nia Jax. And in the corner of Nia Jax is Mrs. Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. So, getting into it, let's just start off with who I think is going to win the match. I love Bayley. I think Bayley is, without question, one of the best female talents in the business. I think people, even now, don't give her the credit that I believe she deserves. When it's all said and done, and we're talking about legends and people who had an impact on the business, how people look back on Trish Stratus, Lita, Mickie James, Victoria, 10 years from now, when Bayley retires and she's done with wrestling, she hangs it up, they're going to be saying the same thing about her. So understand me when I say this. I have not been impressed with Bayley's run. When I say that, I'm not taking anything away from her as a performer and what she's done for wrestling. I say that as someone who has just not been impressed with how she's been booked. Ever since she got away from Damage Control, she hasn't really been doing anything interesting. Can we agree on that? You can sit here and say that the championship run is not bad. I'm not arguing whether it's good or bad. I'm saying it's not interesting. And right now, personally, with the way things are looking, if you gave me the book, I'm taking the belt right off of her. And I'm throwing it on either Tiffany Stratton or Nia Jax. Because I don't know what happened. The moment they gave her the belt, she stopped being interesting. I don't know why that's the case, but that's just how it is. So we need something to happen here to revitalize Bayley as a TV character. So going into the match, and I think I predicted this like around Clash at the Castle. I had this idea when Nia Jax won Queen of the Ring that it was going to be a massacre. That Nia Jax was going to indeed just run through Bayley. Right? But then Tiffany Stratton won Mrs. Money in the Bank. And that threw my entire prediction out the window. There is a side of me that does see Tiffany cashing in here. But just like Bron Breakker, it is way too soon, way too early to give Tiffany Stratton the women's championship. She literally just got to the main roster, and we're already giving her the championship. Too soon. Way too soon. I'm happy they gave her the Money in the Bank briefcase to let people know that she is going to be a women's champion, as she should. She should be a future women's champion. But that is something, like Damian Priest, that's something that should be further along down the line. So, to everyone saying Tiffany's going to cash in here, I can assure you that is not happening. And if she does cash in, it is not going to be successful. I hope you realize that. If Tiffany Stratton does cash in, which could happen, the chances of it being successful are very, very low. Massively low. Matter of fact, if she cashes in, that would be how Bayley retains. If it's a straight up one-on-one match, which I think is going to happen, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I never thought I would say this in 2024. The same guy who years ago said Nia Jax is an anchor weighing down not just the women's division, but WWE, period. She's reckless. She hurts women unintentionally or intentionally. This woman's dangerous. Here I am in 2024 saying she is one of the best parts of the women's division. She's turned it around, and I wouldn't mind her being a women's champion. And that is my prediction. I think Nia Jax rips that championship away from Bayley. And then we start telling the story of Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Nia Jax. What does this mean for Bayley? I have no idea. Quite frankly, if she beats Nia Jax here, I still don't know what that means for Bayley. I think they got to do something with her. What that is, I have no idea. I'm very curious to see whatever happens in this match, what the WWE does with Bayley going forward. I almost feel like they had to justify her becoming Queen of the Ring with something. So I do think that is going to play a role in this match. And I do think that ultimately is going to lead to her becoming the next WWE Women's Champion. Liv Morgan. And of course, the returning Rhea Ripley. And you best believe Dominic Mysterio will be somewhere in there. Give them credit. I believe for the last month or so, Monday Night Raw has been the Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley show. This angle has been carrying Monday Night Raw. And it's a long-term story. Longer than Punk and Drew. Rhea Ripley injured Liv Morgan over a year ago. Liv came back saying, I am on the Revenge Tour. The Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. And it started with her attacking Rhea Ripley and unintentionally injuring her. Now, I believe Rhea Ripley did get hurt, but it was only a stinger. It was a stinger, and they took her off TV just to be safe. But she was off for a couple of months. It played perfectly into the story. Rhea loses the championship, who then drops it to Becky Lynch. Becky ends up losing it to Liv Morgan. So Liv Morgan ends up injuring Rhea Ripley, taking her off TV, and then taking her championship. And then for the last month or so, she's been courting, trying to seduce Dominic Mysterio, who for the life of me has not folded one bit. And I cannot believe that this boy, after being hit on in all kinds of ways by Liv Morgan and her booty shorts, found a way to not fold. This boy, who's essentially Tenchi Muyo, got all these women chasing after him. He gets a fine-ass woman in Liv Morgan, literally willing to give it all to him, risk it all for him, and he manages to hold out. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Something tells me that Dom folded a long ass time ago. Remember a certain segment where Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan were seen coming out of the same room? Now we're going way back. I believe Dom folded a long time ago. And this whole thing is a ruse. Eventually, we are going to find out that Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan were in cahoots the entire time. It's going to happen this Saturday. The easiest prediction that I could make. Liv Morgan will indeed retain against Rhea Ripley. Now, the match is going to go how everyone expects it to go. Rhea is going to slaughter Liv, dominate her, toss her to and fro, rip out her hair, bust her open, and before she can drive the knife through her black heart, Dominic Mysterio shows his true colors and his allegiance to Liv Morgan and helps Liv defeat Rhea Ripley. And then it's on to Bad Blood and Survivor Series, where this is going to get even crazier. But before we can take this feud to the next level, Rhea Ripley has to get her heart broken. Rhea Ripley has to get her heart broken before we can go on to the next level. This is where it happens. Dominic Mysterio turns on Rhea Ripley, leaves Judgment Day. Or does he leave Judgment Day? We'll talk about that in just a second. But he does leave Rhea Ripley. And guess what, Liv Morgan? That's going to be crazy. Like, even though I'm predicting it to happen, it's going to be nuts when it happens. It is going to shut down the internet like Liv Morgan did with her booty shorts. But it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts when it happens. And then Liv and Dom can live happily ever after until Rhea Ripley returns with a machete and a blowtorch and kills everybody. I'm excited about that, most importantly. When Rhea gets her heart broken, the aftermath of her heartbreak, where she leaves bodies in her wake, is going to be absolutely insane. So yes, I need Liv Morgan and Dom to beat Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. Because if they just have Rhea Ripley beat Liv Morgan, then what the hell? What was the point of any of this? Triple H is playing 3D chess, 4D chess with us right now. Long term, the best outcome, Dom joins Liv. I'm telling you, Dom already folded. We just don't know about it. Liv Morgan retains. Gunther, taking on your WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest. So, let's just get it out the way. Everyone, including me, is expecting Damian Priest to lose this match. I think Gunther has shown us that he is one of the best champions the WWE could have ever wanted. The way he carries himself, the respect that he commands. His chops alone make him one of the best champions that the company has ever had. So common sense would tell you, why would you not want to put the world title on him? We also have Bash in Berlin coming up. That basically gives it away, right? You want Bash in Berlin to have a champion that's related to that part of the world. More Gunther than Damian Priest. So everything is coming together for this to be a Damian Priest loss and a Gunther win. But let me talk to you about the possibility of Damian Priest winning this match. Because the story has been that Damian Priest is not a legitimate champion. Every match he's had help winning. He's never won the championship clean. He's yet to win a championship match without help. He might not have wanted the help, but he's always had help winning that championship and keeping it. What if this was the first and probably only time he retains the title clean and he beats someone who could legitimately have beaten him and we would have seen as champion? Because think about it this way. If Damian Priest just loses, he would not come across as a strong champion. Right? If Gunther loses to Damian Priest, That doesn't hurt Gunther. That elevates Damian Priest. If Damian Priest loses to Gunther, that just basically confirms to everyone that he was always a transitional champion, as we all thought he was when he won the belt at WrestleMania. You're just keeping that belt warm until someone else wins it. I thought it was going to be Drew McIntyre. I was wrong. It's going to be Gunther. I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about making new stars, who would be more protected here? I think Gunther would be protected in a loss. Damian Priest would not. Keep that in mind. Don't close your mind to the possibility of Damian Priest winning this match. But let's be honest. I think we're all going for Gunther to win this match, right? So either one or two things are going to happen. And I think the second one is what I think is going to happen. Gunther's just going to beat, number one, he's just going to beat Damian Priest clean. No help. Strong possibility. How I see it is, number two, I think Finn Balor comes out and costs Damian Priest the title. I think Finn Balor then becomes the new leader of Judgment Day. And I think Finn Balor shows up with Carlito. He shows up with JD McDonough. He shows up with Liv Morgan. And he shows up with Dominic Mysterio. And I think all five of them will form a new Judgment Day. And they will kick out Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. And then we spend the next few months with Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley trying to take down the Judgment Day for good. Keep this in mind. When Judgment Day first got formed, Edge, Adam Copeland was the leader. Who ended up stealing Judgment Day from Edge? Finn Balor. But ultimately, Finn didn't become the leader. Rhea Ripley became the leader. And then Damian Priest became the leader. Finn Balor was never seen as the leader, although he's the one that stole the group. Storyline-wise, that should eat him up inside. And so it would make all the sense in the world for Finn Balor to then do a coup. Insurrection, if you will. Have the group turn on Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley and form a new one where he's the de facto leader. Man. Hey, I'd be for it. Under Triple H? Oh, Finn Balor would be a fucking boss in that role. And then Damian Priest can go on to be a babyface, which I think they're trying to push him as anyways. And then Rhea Ripley would eclipse everybody. She would eclipse all of them and be one of the top babyfaces in the world. But, man, I think for me, if Judgment Day is going to be around, we got to take them in a different direction. Because right now, they have been stale as stale can be. Doing this would elevate them in all sorts of ways. You give Gunther the world title, he goes off and does things with that, and he's going to be a great champion. Probably starts a feud with the winner of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre down the line. But then you have another mid-card storyline, multiple ones, and this one is multifaceted. Damian, Finn, Liv, Rhea, Dom, Rhea. I think we can all agree, if that was to happen, it would be the literal best outcome. So, my prediction is that Gunther will be your new world champion with help from Finn Balor, who will cost Damian Priest. Is it turning out to be a great SummerSlam yet? If it all happened this way, would you come out saying it's one of the best SummerSlams? So far, we haven't even gotten to the main event yet. It's pretty good, isn't it? Pretty good. It's not bad. What should be the main event, but isn't, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, with Seth freaking Rollins as the special guest referee. Drew McIntyre has been an absolute legend in this feud. These last 6 months of Drew McIntyre have been the best Drew McIntyre I personally have ever seen. Dare I say 9 months. In terms of how he carries himself, the stories he's involved in, his My goodness, his social media work. His social media game is unmatched. Unmatched. Homeboy just took a picture with Jack Perry. And I'm so happy he resigned with this idea that he's going to have a lot more creative freedom. And if this feud is an indication of what we can expect going forward, this man has got to be a world champion one last time before he calls it a day. Now, it takes two to tangle. I don't think Drew would be as over or as interesting as he is now if it wasn't for CM Punk. And everyone thought that CM Punk was going to fail when he came back to WWE. It hasn't happened yet, and I don't see it happening. It does suck that he hurt himself at the Royal Rumble. He just got cleared, but there is that fear. Man, if he gets hurt again, let's just talk about that for a minute. I love Punk. I think Punk is one of the greatest of all time. Definitely one of the best talkers. Has had some of the best matches ever, period. Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW. If he gets injured again, even I'm going to start thinking he needs to call it a day. So hopefully he doesn't get hurt here. If he manages to get through this match without getting hurt, all power to him. Let's hope he can have a good run. But this feud has been excellent. Punk has had Drew McIntyre's number. Well, honestly, since Drew injured him at Royal Rumble. Drew injured CM Punk at the Rumble. That's the story going in. And then he told CM Punk, I prayed for this. I prayed for this. That he would get hurt. And since then, CM Punk has had a bullseye on his head. He's had a bounty on him. And he's coming to collect. The first time he owned Drew McIntyre was at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre wins the world title. He has it. And then he tries to shove it in CM Punk's face. CM Punk, who didn't tell Drew McIntyre that he was actually very healthy because the injury that he suffered wasn't as bad as they thought it was. CM Punk took off the arm brace and starts beating the living piss out of Drew McIntyre, leading to Damian Priest coming out to cash in. Man, oh man. That's crazy. Already crazy. Drew held the belt for 5 minutes and lost it. And then the very next night in a fatal 4-way, CM Punk cost him again. And then worst off, to make matters even worse, we move on to Clash at the Castle in his home country. What happens then? CM Punk shows up as a referee and screws Drew McIntyre a third time. We all knew when that happened that there would be hell to pay. And so Drew McIntyre proceeds, finds CM Punk on Friday Night SmackDown, and on sight beats him to a bloody pulp and takes CM Punk's love bracelet, holding the wife and his dog's name, AJ Lee and Larry's name. Drew decided, you know what? Now that Punk is out the way, I'm going to go win me a championship, Money in the Bank. He gets the briefcase. Guess what happens? CM Punk interferes on his match where he cashed in and helps Damian Priest beat Drew McIntyre. And Seth Rollins gets screwed as a result. Here we are. The blood is boiling. CM Punk is cleared. We finally, after all that craziness, we're finally going to get Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with a caveat. And that caveat is that of all people, the last person they want refereeing this match is the one guy that both of them do not like, cannot stand. And that's Seth freaking Rollins. SummerSlam 1997. There was a certain match in the main event for the world title involving The Undertaker, Bret Hart. And guess who was the referee? The Heartbreak Kid, HBK, Shawn Michaels. Very similar story being told here. Shawn Michaels ended up screwing, costing The Undertaker the match and helping Bret Hart win the world title. And then that set into motion basically 2 feuds for Shawn over the next few months. One with Bret and, of course, that Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. I think we're going to get something similar here with Seth Rollins. And I think the one that gets screwed over is CM Punk. I think Seth Rollins inadvertently cost CM Punk the match, and Drew McIntyre gets the victory, which sets into motion months upon months of a feud, a three-way feud between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew. We can do CM Punk and Seth. We can do a rematch between Drew and CM Punk. Speaking of Hell in a Cell, that's a Hell in a Cell match right there. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Maybe we get a triple threat with all three. Maybe we throw Gunther in there and make it a fatal four-way. But I think we set into motion what is going to be one hell of a three-way feud. Seth, Punk, and Drew. I think we get this to WrestleMania, and we throw Gunther in there. I think the WrestleMania match to do is a fatal four-way. Punk, Drew, Seth, and Gunther. So yes, I do predict that Drew McIntyre will indeed win. And I think Seth will be the one to cost him. Last but definitely least, the WWE Championship match. Cody Rhodes defends his belt against the new head of the table, the quasi-tribal chief, the scar to Roman Reigns' Mufasa, Solo Sikoa. So let me give him his flowers. Solo has been killing it. He's been killing it as the new heel, the top heel, as the newest head of the table, table head, whatever. The new head man in charge, the head honcho. And yes, I do think, me personally, Paul Heyman had a lot to do with that. I do think Paul Heyman and his acting, Paul Heyman going completely nutty, losing his smile, going pale, letting his build go scruffled, getting a scruffled build. Red eyes. That night where he told Solo that you are not my tribal chief, and Solo snapped on him and pulled him through a table. Solo basically signed his death warrant. And with his new bloodline, look, this isn't a bloodline that should be scoffed at. Jacob Fatu is a beast. The Gorillas of Destiny. Hurt nobody realer than Gorilla. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are not anything to scoff at. This bloodline is amazing. But we all know what's getting ready to happen. And I think it being so predictable and it really not coming across as an interesting match on paper anyways, this is why this might be one of the weakest main events they've done in a long time. Because the excitement for this match has nothing to do with the match. When people are watching this match, they're not going to be watching for a 5-star classic. They don't care about Cody versus Solo. No one here believes Solo is going to be Cody Rhodes. Right? No one believes Solo is going to be Cody Rhodes. And Cody should not lose the belt to Solo. Sorry, Solo. We all know what's about to happen here. Now, the question is, should it happen during the match or should it happen after the match? And what that is Roman Reigns' return. What is going to carry the show as one of the best endings that the company has ever had is the return of Roman Reigns, who is going to get a monster pop in front of 50,000 fans when he shows up. When you see Paul Heyman walk out on stage and then you hear Roman's music, that crowd is going to come unglued. Roman hits the ring, spear to Toa, spear to Tonga, spear to Jacob, and then finally, spear to Solo. It's going to be nuts. We're going to see it, and I can't wait for it. The question is, does it happen after the match or before the match? Before the match ends, during the match. Well, I can tell you right now, my prediction doesn't really matter because Cody's winning the belt. He's keeping the belt. But here's what I will say. What I think also needs to happen, just to put this to bed, Cody's going to retain. to put a cap on the kind of babyface Roman is, yes, spear Solo. Yes, spear Jacob. Yes, spear the Gorillas of Destiny. I'm going to need Roman to spear Cody too. Sorry, Cody Rhodes fans. Cody needs to be speared as well. Let's get something straight. Just because he's a babyface doesn't mean he loves everybody. This is still the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Ain't nothing changed about him. He's still a diabolical son of a bitch. I don't want white meat babyface Roman Reigns. I want anti-hero. I will whoop anybody's ass. It's still about me. I'm still self-centered Roman Reigns. I'm just a babyface in the moment because Solo's a son of a bitch. I still think the world revolves around me. That Roman Reigns needs to come back. And I need him to spear Cody Rhodes. That, to me, is going to make things a lot more interesting for Cody Rhodes. Because if you have Roman just come back and help Cody win, and then he's like, I respect you, man. Oh, that's going to be so goddamn lame. Nah. Roman needs to spear Cody, too. He's still the tribal chief. Now, this would neuter Cody Rhodes as the top babyface. But who gives a fuck? It's Roman's show. It was always Roman's show. And Cody's just holding the belt to keep it warm for The Rock to win the belt. And we get back to Roman and Rock for WrestleMania 41. Sorry. I think we all know that the main event for WrestleMania 41 is going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns. The moment they had it set for Las Vegas, I said, well, it's Rock and Roman Reigns. It's Rock and Roman Reigns for Las Vegas. The question is, should it be for the championship? Now, ultimately, Rock and Roman don't need the title, but the title needs Rock and Roman. Yeah, you could keep the belt on Cody and do what? Cody versus Randy Orton? Or, even better, Cody versus John Cena. John Cena's retirement run's happening during that time. Why not Cody and John Cena? Why not? I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea what's in store for Cody. I do know what's in store for Roman. Roman comes back. We set into motion the Civil War of the Bloodline. Jay, Jimmy, they try to coexist. And you have a bloodline that has cracks that don't get along, taking on a mafia version of the bloodline. Maybe we get a Sami Zayn involved. Maybe we bring in another member of the bloodline. But think about that for a minute. Think about that for a hot second. That's going to be a much more interesting story to tell. Roman not liking everybody, still being the same tribal chief, self-centered son of a bitch with Jay and Jimmy. That's your babyface side, taking on this cohesive, very dangerous, savagery, bloodthirsty version of the bloodline. Oh, that's going to be so good. And then it's going to be even better when you throw in The Rock. Oh, my goodness. Y'all don't want the championship involved with this? Do we got to keep the belt on Cody? Do we have to? God, the championship needs Roman, Rock, and this bloodline storyline. Whatever. I see someone in the live chat saying Rock and Roman doesn't need the title. You're right. It doesn't need the title. But the title needs Rock and Roman. I'm going to put it to you that way. All that to say, Cody Rhodes is my prediction to retain the championship. I do not think Solo should win that title. No. I think at any other point, it could be argued that he probably needs to win the title if we're going to keep his momentum going. But no, I don't think Solo should and will win the title. That's just how I feel. That's just what I predict. You can agree or disagree. But there you go. That's my thoughts. And that's going to conclude my SummerSlam predictions, guys. Just to kind of run down one last time from the beginning. Well, actually from the top. Cody Rhodes will beat Sikoa thanks to the return of Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins will screw CM Punk and help Drew McIntyre win his match. We will have a new World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther, after Finn Balor costs Damian Priest his match. Rhea Ripley will lose to Liv Morgan after Dominic Mysterio costs her. A lot of screw jobs on this show. A lot of screw jobs happening. Dominic Mysterio helps Liv Morgan. Nia Jax rips the championship away from Bayley. Tiffany Stratton will not cash in, and if she does, Bayley will retain. We will not have a new IC champion. I do see Sami Zayn keeping the belt after Bron Breakker fucks himself over, to be exact. And we will have a new United States champion. Logan Paul will fall to the fastest rising megastar in all of professional wrestling, with everybody saying L.A. Knight. Yeah. It's time. It is time. That is my SummerSlam prediction. Thank you all so much for joining me. Do you agree? Do you disagree? After hearing me talk about it, 2 questions. What is your excitement level? 1 out of 10. How excited are you for SummerSlam? Do you think it's going to be a great show? And question number 2, what match are you looking forward to the most? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and shut things down, close things down here. I want to thank you all for making me a part of your day. And as you follow out, do all the YouTube things, like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and Venmo. You will definitely see me again Saturday for my SummerSlam review. You don't want to miss it. And definitely be sure you check out other content on the channel, subscribe, and be here for what is going to be one of the best shows, in my personal opinion, to happen in a long time. But that is for Saturday. For now, I bid you all adieu. And I'll catch you guys next time right here in Alyx's World. The place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. See you at SummerSlam.